All right, yo, what's up, man? Welcome to another episode of The Juice with your boy IG. And today I got with me in the building. It's about to be a real live episode. I got the CEO of HMO Entertainment, Kevin Cooks.
My
What's
God,
up, Kev, man? How you doing?
and I'm great. I'm great. Glad to be on. I like talking, so words mean something. So I love stuff like this, man.
Yeah, I know you do love talking. I see the post all the time, man. You love
Like,
going back and forth with people. So
it's funny. I've been really trying to do that a lot less, man, because it saves me a lot of aggravation. Because a lot of the stuff, like the LeBron and versus Mike, I don't even care about it. I just get to the point of more where I feel like I'm defending too much and wasting too much energy. So I'm like, man, it's just whatever you think. Like,
yeah, I got you on that. That's why I don't even get involved most of the time when I see it. I just let it slide. But first, I want to get into your music. Let everybody know what HMO is. And how you got this far. Because I've been knowing you since I was what 13, 14 years old.
it was 13, 14. He was the lefty shooter.
Yeah.
But Hold My Own Entertainment is as a label, the concept came up in 2002, and Jared with Do You Clothing, me and him was like moving and moving and moving and doing music, and like different people wanted to get with us and sign us and do stuff like that. And then him and I was just brainstorming, and I came up with it, and we just rocked out with it, and then it stuck, and then I did the paperwork on it, went to the lawyer, got that done, and I just kept it. So even when I was inactive with music, I always kept that part of that business correct because I always felt like I wanted to do something with it. But music was doing cycles, going through stuff in life, and ups and downs, positives, all of those type of things. Sometimes you lose track of your gifts and your likes or loves, and that's kind of how it was with that. But then I decided, man, look, I have a lot of music. I love the creative process, so let me start pouring stuff out. So, uh, in between time, I went through kind of like I guess what everybody would go through as far as figuring out how I wanted to present myself. Like, you being a person that listens to a lot of Christian music, I battle with that a lot, as far as wanting to not do certain stuff because in my spirit it's just not there, but at the same time not being, uh, I'm not on a level where I wanted to feel like I'm doing gospel music or Christian music because I know my feet weren't always or they aren't always planted in that side. So I just tried to make the music that I feel more of what I see, being very expressive, and that's how the music comes out.
Got you. I got you. And I know I first started listening to you back in the Mr. October mixtape.
Yeah, everybody liked that one, man. And you know what's funny about that? I don't even listen to that mixtape. Like I might go back and listen to one or two songs on it, but for the most part, that mixtape was me attempting to be liked. So when I went into and I did that with DJ Rapid Rick out of San Antonio or Austin. I'm sorry, he's out of Austin.
Okay.
He just was pulling beats up. So he pulled a beat up. I never heard most of those beats. Like literally, like he pulled it up in the studio. I had a BlackBerry with the side scroll at the time, and I was just writing on that. And but it was my attempt to have people say, "Hey, man, I could fit him in this category," because generally my music is more introspective and talking about something. But at that point on that CD, the only two songs that I thought really stuck, I just because I love Nas, "The Made You Look" was one of my favorites. Um, "Throw It in a Bag," the Fab remix, I thought that one was really good. But it was a song called "The Other Side of Mardi Gras" and "Ten Toes." Those were by far my two favorite. But those were the ones that were actually speaking about things that were going on in like in our neighborhoods and in our communities.
Okay. And you brought up the other side of Mardi Gras. Like you have the song, but you did drop a EP recently called The
I
Other
did.
Side of Mardi Gras.
I did. I dropped "The Other Side of Mardi Gras," and that had been something that I talked about with my first rap partner long, long ago, and may he rest in peace now. But we always planned to do an EP or an album, because we were a group, so we were going to do an EP or an album called "The Other Side of Mardi Gras," and we just wanted to give everyone the opposite side of the coin, and because when people see New Orleans or people that are not from New Orleans or never been there, all they know is Mardi Gras. They know like, oh, I see the second lines on TV, but they don't see the other side of it, of the people who actually have to live in New Orleans. you know, dealing with poverty, dealing with crime, you know, just the normal stuff that goes on in every other city. I just think by New Orleans being so small, it's a lot more like likely that you'll have to, you know, experience some of that. So the songs that I put on there, I felt like were the other side of the coin. It wasn't party songs like people would think with Mardi Gras. It wasn't like the high tempo stuff. It was more like, okay, this is how we felt growing up inside New Orleans and actually being in the Mardi Gras environment.
I got you. I got you. And I understand a lot being from the actual same neighborhood as you. So, you know, I get it. Like, it's a lot going on that people outside of New Orleans never get to see.
No question, no question. And then, you know, that's just a little glimpse of it. And most of the time when I don't have like these ideas when I start doing music. I just listen to the beat and like so when we play a track and then I hear it, that's usually how my writing process starts. Like I have no idea what I want to write when I get in the studio. The producer just say, "Hey man, I got this track, I got that track." I don't write outside of the studio at all. You know, life is too complicated for me sometimes to even think like that. But when I get into the studio, it's like, you know, Kobe in the gym for a 6 o'clock training session at 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, I feel like this is where I'm comfortable at. This is where my brain is free. You know, all of the other stuff outside is not there. So the other side of Mardi Gras was actually the first project that I sat down and had a concept for. You know, and I think it came out pretty good. My folks that like church a lot, they really like the Shepherd song. My favorite song is I Got Issues, but I don't really listen to it because it was kind of like me just pouring out everything that I was dealing with, you know, during COVID. I had a couple of health issues that, you know, when you're a former basketball player, you eat and sleep in a certain way when you're accustomed to that. But as you start getting older, then your body starts reacting differently. So I had to get myself together. And when I Got Issues, it speaks about all of the things that I went through while I was trying to get myself together.
See, now I'm about to go back and re-listen now. You know, 'cause I did, you know, I listened to that when it first came out. I still listen to it from time to time, but now I got to go back and listen to it to see the issues. You know,
yeah,
like
if you
praise,
listen
man.
to
You
it,
know, I got to do.
yeah, I know you like lyrics, but I literally in that song, man, I poured it out, and I was in the studio. The guy who produced it is called Jazz or John Allen Stevens, and
Okay.
me and my partner Bishop, we were in the studio. Bishop actually was on the podcast, the Talking and BS podcast I used to do.
Okay. All
He
right.
was like, he was the one that would be the comedic one saying all the wild stuff. But
Okay.
he's actually like one of the most talented songwriters I've ever worked with, man. And like probably one of the only people when I go to the studio with him, I don't have to write the hook. You know, he'll come in and bless the hook. So
Okay.
on that I Got Issues, you know, John Allen pull up the beat and I'm like, I loved it immediately. And then, you know, Pat did this whole thing in his head and then he said, man, look, say this. And then I went in and said it. You know, we tweaked a couple of words, but for the most part, man, I give all due respect to Pat for that one because he came up with the concept of it. And then after he did that, it just came out naturally as far as the words, and it stuck. But when I did that Issues, man, it kind of gave me this different vibe. Like the music isn't necessarily like what someone would pick, especially being from New Orleans, from our demographic and region. Nobody's picking the type of beats that I rap on most of the time. And then now, you know, with drill music and all of that. So I Got Issues is very dear to me. And, you know, the track spoke to me and I said what it said. And, you know, I'm pretty comfortable with it.
Got you. I got you. I kind of want to get into how you got started in music because I know a little bit about your background, but the other people listening might not know anything about the background and how you got started in music and where you initially came from. Because I know your dad was involved in music, so
Yep.
that's when you start. Could you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah. So everybody else's childhood was a little different than mine. Even though my dad never really got to get the money, you know, my dad did a lot of touring. And like when I was born, my dad was he was in a band with an artist called Joe Tex. Joe Tex was like real popular. He was a rhythm and blues guy, but you know, he came from I forgot what group he was in, but he was in a group from like the 60s that was like extremely popular, and then he went solo. So when I first was born, my dad was with him. So growing up, my dad was performing with like James Brown and you know Aretha Franklin's, and you know he was hanging around like Fats Domino is related to us. So you know music was just something that was in the family. My dad played like 5 instruments. But me loving basketball, I never got into the instrumentation of it. Um, Being that I'm a young kid that grew up in a hip hop culture, I just love hip hop. So the words came pretty easy to me because I was a fan of poetry. And I just started doing poetry when we were probably about 18 or so, with all of the guys from the neighborhood rapping like Bam and, Snitch and Meathead and all of these guys. And I'm like, man, I can do that. But I couldn't do that. My stuff was whack. Like they were, these guys could really, really rap. And I ain't have nothing for that. So I'm at home, in privacy, like trying to construct these things. And I got notebooks and notebooks still from that era, which is like my rhyme structure was just so I didn't know what I was doing. I was just putting words on the paper. And so that got me to writing. And then, honestly, the same way I did, I just wanted Bam's respect. So if Bam respected me as an artist, I knew I had something. So being in the studio with them, they didn't have time for me. They were writing songs and doing music. And I'm like, okay, they're going to say, Kev, go ahead and hop on this. Well, they never said, Kev, go ahead and hop on this, man. So I went and bought the equipment to do it myself. So I went and bought a keyboard. I bought a Motif 6 when they first came out. Like literally went into Guitar Center on Elmwood Parkway, and I was like, man, look, I want that one. And spent like 2 racks on a keyboard. So my initial songs, which I'm about to put a lot of them out now, I produced them all myself. And so me doing that made me understand song structure. And when Hurricane Katrina happened, me and Jared from Do You Clothing, me and Jared, man, we was in Atlanta back and forth. We was in there doing like 10 songs a day. Like we just was up in the studio. And just honing the craft and trying to get better. And so music just stuck, and it's like now, man, it's just passionate for me. Like I don't care about the money. I really never cared about no fame and accolades. I just like writing and creating. So that's where my heart is. So that's what I do.
Okay, I got you on that. Like, don't care about the fame, don't care about the accolades. Now I want to get into it. Like, I don't know if a lot of people know that how you're associated with Ryan Clark as far as because like you do the opening for the Pivot, right?
No, not the Pivot. I did the opening for his
Face First.
Face First podcast, which is oddly enough, man, it's a 2-minute and 13-second song. And on Spotify, it is by far the biggest song that I have on Spotify. And I don't even understand it because I'm like, when I'm looking at the views on YouTube, it doesn't match the listens. But everybody loved the song so much because they was like, man, we can't never change that song. So even when he gets back to doing that farm, and oddly enough, I was okay to do the song for the Pivot, but it was after the song that's on there now was already there.
Okay.
So they started blowing, and then it was like, hey man, I don't know if you need to touch this, like, cause it's almost like the Power song when 50 Cent switched it and let Trey Songz do a version, and they like, hey man, what is this?
Right.
It's a good song, but you didn't need to touch it. So it's kind of like that with it. Ryan's my brother, man. Like godfather to his daughter. He godfather to my sons. So our relationship goes deep, but we really started hanging. I mean, I knew him when we were little, but I didn't really start hanging with him until I was maybe like 21. And then we just.
I definitely know that because all through high school, me and him was together all the time. So it was weird. Like when I came back and then I was like,
yeah. But it was funny. The relationship started so organically, man, because we had mutual friends, and then we used to go to LSU and watch the games, laying around the floor and just partying and being kids. And then when he got out of college, I just always was like, man, supportive, being around. And then we just, it just clicked. And like, when you see good people, man, just like yourself, like I consider you a lifelong friend. So, it just so happens that friend, hit the public stage and had some opportunity to give me. And like, to be real, man, he don't have to look out for me at all, but he does. Like every time he gets an opportunity, like, hey man, like even with his DB Precision Training, I do the soundtracks for that. So that's on my, So the Retreat 1, the Retreat 2, that's on my label. He didn't have to do that. He could have made a label for himself and did it. He's throwing me alley-oops, man, and I'm ever appreciative for it. And the first one I pretty much did a lot by myself as far as, the songs. The second one I tried to get a couple of more guests. The third one gonna be crazy though, because it'll be a mixture of this. I'm already starting to get the beats and everything now to gather that up, but it's definitely gonna be a crazy situation, man. As far as the music is gonna be a lot better. I'm gonna try to get more artists involved that I respect. That's a big key, but I just want it to be good music. So, the connection with me and Ryan is, man, that's just definitely family. Like his mom calls me son, I call her mama. Like she literally texts me every day and gives me a Bible verse with a YouTube with a
Go ahead,
YouTube
Mama
video.
Sheila.
Man, Mama Sheila, man, she's special, man. So, that family is just a connection like that. But, he does look out for me as much as possible. And like I said, my mouth was watering when he said I was gonna get the pivot song. I was like, man, I'm gonna kill this one. But, it was moving so good. I was like, man, I don't know if y'all need to touch that. Like, that's a classic. And then you can have a good song, but if it's not resonating like the classic, the internet is gonna kill you. And I was like, nah, man, I don't even want the problems. Like,
Yeah, man, it's crazy because like being that I, played ball with Ryan and all that, and like we were real tight. And then I remember switching schools and you being there, like and all that. Then I was like, man, they ain't never hung out. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, in the 20s, y'all tight as.
yeah,
So
I mean,
it was just wild to me.
yeah, and it was just one of them things, man. It was like, I remember when he was playing for the Giants, and we all go up there. I bought a ticket to go see him, and go do those type of things. And like, when you don't want nothing from somebody, man, especially when they have a good platform, you know. But I was also his friend when he was driving a Pink Panther, so this was pre ever having any fame, fortune, or anything like that. So that
Yeah,
kind of helps too. But I just never want nothing from nobody. The only thing I want from y'all is the same thing that I give you. Like, if I'm honest with you, I expect that back. If I'm loyal to you, I expect that back. If you need a shoulder to cry on, I'm that friend you can come talk to. So that's just all it is, man. It's just a brotherhood.
I got you. Definitely feel you on that. You always showing support. I can't even say the word support. So I always try to show my support for you. And I want to
Same
get
with you.
into like I know now you got your Say More shirt on. You know what I'm
Definitely
saying?
do.
And tell people what the Say More movement is because I see you've been doing a lot with that lately.
Hey, another funny thing. I know I mentioned Bishop again, and when I say funny, ironically, it seems like he's always around when I get these sparks because the dude is
Okay.
so creative, man. And when you in a space with creative people, it makes for a better vision and version of what you're doing. So even like with the Drake situation, when they were saying he had ghostwriters because he had that song written, and he did get that song done, but when you have people in there that can affect you in a way, especially when you're used to doing everything yourself, it kind of gives you this extra thing. So we did this song that's produced by my homeboy AG. AG is from New Roads, and but I met him in Houston, and he lives in LA now. He's producing and he's doing this thing. But he sent me a beat called "The South Is Talking," and it's actually the picture that's on the sweatshirts that we made that Ryan's daughter drew.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the cover art for that single. Well, when he sent the track, it's me, Bishop, and then I got another homeboy, man. You need to check him out. His name is Mikey ISO, and he's from Houston. He's really, really dope, man. He's like, Outkast meets UGK type feel, as far as the way that he puts his music together, but very poetic and almost like a what's up boy from DC, Wale. So
Well,
if
okay.
you mix Wale, UGK, and Outkast all together, that's kind of how you give a Mikey ISO. But anyway, on that song that we did, Bishop had a lyric and he was like, y'all be like, say less. I be like, say more. And I was like, man, say more. Like, yeah, that, now my marketing degree starts picking up and I'm like, bro, that's it. That's a slogan right there. So, in the hashtag environment, I was like, man, we're going to use that. So I went ahead and put it on shirts, put it on hats. And like the hat that you got, there you go, the trucker hat.
Yeah,
And
yeah, we got that.
yeah, so, the say more to me just means that I just want people to be okay with that depth. Like it's okay to say something, no matter how you present your art form. Just let it be good, man. Like, don't put out no trash. Like, love the art form. Put your words together. Put the music together in a way that makes sense. Like, I listen to No Cap. I listen to NBA YoungBoy. So I'm not a person that's like, man, this newer music sucks. It doesn't. It's some really good guys out here, but some of these guys are just chasing the money and they're forgetting the art form. And then politically and socially and even like in a way of saying that you are really big and you say all the time, man, I don't really listen to secular music, but I mess with your music. I love that. Like, I love that platform, and not saying that I love it because you listen to me, but I love that you're man enough to say your perspective and stand on what you believe. So Say More for me was kind of like that. And then we actually have I have a few interviews or Say More commercials, so to speak, with people giving their life stories. One of them is my sister. She's a domestic violence survivor. She's actually thriving. So I know hers is going to be crazy when people hear it. I got another homeboy, and you might know him. He's one of the Delaney brothers from Whitmere. Van
Okay.
Sean, LaRon
That's
Hawk, and all
oh
those guys.
yeah. Oh, I probably know some of his story because
Yeah,
I've been around for some of it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like I could tell you a story of them just walking down the street and caught me driving one time and was like, "Yo, could you give us a ride somewhere?"
yeah, yeah.
I ended up in the Calio projects and I wasn't.
But you know the Delaney brothers, but the older brother DeMarco, man, he got a crazy story, man. And I don't want to tell too much of it, but my boy was in a helicopter crash, a severe car accident, and was shot 8 times, all within 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And he's still here to survive. And I'm talking about, man, he on fire about God, my boy. Like man, he knows it wasn't nothing but God here. He was like, his purpose isn't done. So he's another one. I got my homeboy Chuck. He did one for me, and he was in jail. He was a very good athlete on his way to college. Messed around and caught a charge for armed robbery. I think it was armed robbery. It was some type of robbery. Got out of jail, didn't know what he was going to do, and it got his life all the way together to what now he's a business owner and a trainer. He owns his own fitness situation. So I just wanted to highlight people, man, and say, like, if you're going to say something, say it. Like, you never know who's listening. That's your testimony. That's your story. That's your vibe. And that's what Say More means, man. And I was stopped by a guy the other day. We was at a brunch. He was like, so what does Say More mean to you? And I was explaining it to him. He was like, man, you know what it could mean to me? He said, people don't talk to each other anymore. It's like we just walk past each other. Like people don't take the time to get to know each other. So Say More for me, man, it just encompasses all that. It's just, have your words mean something. If you say something, stand on it. If you believe it, be proud enough to speak it. And we can be more kind to each other. So Say More, that's what it is for me.
A little bit because I
You froze up on me, my guy. His internet messed up.
Possibly.
Man, my boy Junk over there, he got to get off that cricket service, man. Get him some AT&T.
Hey, you're listening to the Juice Podcast on SGR 81.4. IG's having a couple of technical difficulties, and we are listening and watching on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, the socialgoats.org website, and he's back. And we're going to get back into the show.
You good, my boy? Think it froze up again.
yeah.
Oh,
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. I'm back now, man. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I was asking you about your beef with Ye. I want you to explain to the world why you man why you just like that man so much.
Look, man, you know what's funny? Ye, man, I have always been a fan of Kanye, man. I'm talking about Rockefeller, like everything he did in them first albums. When Ryan was in Pittsburgh, I got the 808 and Heartbreaks. When a lot of people was killing it, because that wasn't the tone of music at the time, and I found the beauty in it. I loved all of the albums to the skinhead stuff, and I was like, man, where is he going with this? And then I just feel like a lot of stuff that he does, it didn't align with my belief system, and you're always welcome to believe what you want. But once you put it in the public forum, now it's there for all of us to judge. And, I don't want any harm to come to him, but I watch him do so many things that are just hypocritical. I watch him do stuff that, you know, he'll say like he's this savior and he's this person looking out for people. But at the end of the day, man, you part of the same machine that you talk about you not trying to be a part of. Like, you know, Kanye just is a polarizing figure for me. When he did the Katrina thing and was like, man, George Bush don't love black people, I was like, man, that guy is that guy. And then the same guy get up there and beg Trump for a hug, and I'm like, I don't know about that one, yeah, man. Like, so some of his political views and the stuff that he was saying, and like this, you know, slavery was the choice, and all of this, that, and the third. There's a lot of people that lost their lives in slavery, man. There's a lot of people that lost their lives in sharecropping. There's a lot of people that lost their lives in a lot of things. And then for him to have so much position and power, and then get up and say he doesn't read, like he don't read no books and he don't listen to nobody, he just come up with all of this on his own. That's very narcissistic, man. It's like, and like I said, I know I'm not a Christian artist by far, but it's just not a godly tone, man. It's not a tone that cares about people. It's very selfish. If he is as mentally ill as they say he is, I pray he gets some help. But if he ain't, he need to get off the public forum, man, and stop talking to people about that stuff. You know, like go do something else, man. But you know, when you call yourself a genius, man, that gives you you got to really be a genius about this. You can't have 126 producers behind you. You got to do that yourself.
Okay, I was just messing with you with that because I love it. The arguments I see you
No,
have.
I'm gonna be honest about it. I'm gonna tell you exactly what my beef is, man. So, like I said, I don't wish no harm on the guy. I don't want him to die or nothing like that. I ain't want him to lose the deal. But when he went nuclear, I'm like, bro, this dude has lost his mind, man. Like, so hopefully the man gets some help, man. But I'm glad they got brothers like yourself out there, you know, being positive and actually spewing some good stuff that they can have some balance, because we need some balance, man.
Oh man, I had a little beef with him too. I ain't gonna say with him. I had more of a beef with the church when they made the switch up.
That marketing ploy. Like,
Yeah, it was like my reason was because it was like if I would have got saved 3 days ago and being a nobody, y'all not gonna let me get nobody's pulpit and do nothing.
No, sir, not at all. And then
he's a public figure, y'all let him get up there and do his thing and whatever. And then I'm like, I know it's marketing for your church, it's bringing people in, you get more money. I understand all that, but you got to properly vet people before they step up there.
I 100% agree. And another thing that made me it bothered me, man. Like, I look at the visuals of things, and I actually pay attention to things that people say. So when you go to like left field, I'm wondering what's the angle. You know what I mean? So like, what are you really trying to do? Are you trying to save souls, or are you trying to be worshipped? When I watched what he was doing, to me, he was looking to be exalted and worshiped, and I'm greater than everybody else. So that's already something I can't get behind, because that's a narcissistic point of view, and that narcissists can't ever really care about anybody besides themselves. But it was very cult-like. You know what I'm saying? And like, you had a lot of people that was on it, man, and willing to die about you. And I'm like, bro, he really don't care nothing about you. Like, it's not about black, white, or whatever. To him, it's about being wealthy and being in them circles. It's not about helping the count. My mom's not wealthy. I'm not wealthy. You know, I don't know your financial situation, but I'm pretty sure you're not a billionaire.
Yeah, you know, right? I'm not.
The things that he's doing, man, it wasn't protecting our children. Like, I got black sons, bro. Like, I need them to be protected. Like, the stuff you spewing is going in the opposite direction to which is what we trying to accomplish. So, you know, he just went too far on the left for that, man. But as far as like that skinhead stuff, all of that music was great. Like, after that, I was like, I don't know about that, bro.
I think musically at times he's shown he's the genius there, but like everything else, I'm just like, bro, you wilding. But
even with that, this is, I guess, from a musical standpoint. Like I said, my dad was an artist. My daddy played instruments. My dad did those type of things, right? My dad was around. You know, I've been with the Temptations. I've been with the Four Tops. I've been with Gladys Knight. I've been with Irma Thomas. I've been with Three Dog Night. I've been with B.B. King. I've been around, you know, you name it. With my dad, I was around him, and I'm watching these guys move. When you look at like a Quincy Jones, he's unequivocally a genius, right? I think everyone will say that, because he did all of the music. He told the people what to come in and play. Like, you know, if I'm playing Build a song and you come in and you the guy with the piano, like Scott Storch. Is Scott Storch less important or more important to Dre's sound than what's the guy name, man? Mike Dean is the Kanye sound.
Okay.
Dre can't take all of that credit for that because the basis of that song came from Storch, which is why Storch was able to use those songs on his verses against Manny Fresh, which I felt like wasn't fair. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So when you look at Mike Dean, Travis Scott, these guys are largely important to Kanye after, matter of fact, from the Beautiful Twisted Dark Fantasy. The RZA, he was on that album. It's a whole bunch of producers that was producing on that album. And we know, and look, if you do the history, I ain't even gonna say it. Just look up Mike Dean and look up the work that he puts in. That dude is amazing. And he's responsible for a lot of stuff that was going on in Kanye stuff. So to me, Kanye started doing the stuff that Puffy was doing people. He'll come in and put a hi-hat on it and be like, hey man, I made that. You know, that I did that song. And you know, the producers ain't really getting the credit that they deserve. But I think Kanye kind of got into that vein for me. And like, I can't respect you saying you're a genius if you got 42 people working on a song, you know what I'm saying, and doing their thing. Yeah, you have a vision, but I need to see you put that, you know, put some more effort into it. So I'm short on the genius thing. Is he very talented? He's extremely talented. He's a great artist. But on the genius thing, man, if you ain't working like Quincy, it's gonna be hard for me to label you that.
See, this is why I enjoy talking to you, because you got a different perspective, because you're more into the instrumentation and things of that nature that I'm not into. Like, I'm into lyrics. I ain't even worried about who doing the stuff I'm singing to do.
And even with that, when we listen to his lyrics, that's Sci-Hi.
Sci-Hi the Prince.
Yeah, he wrote a lot of stuff for Kanye West, and Kanye West threw him to the wolves. Like, you know, went on one of his little rants, and now he don't even talk to the man no more. And that guy's dope. You know, I honestly think he took, man, Sci-Hi probably got money out the deal, and I pray he did because he put a lot of legwork in for Kanye. But I think Sci-Hi gave him like a lot of his great years when he could have been trying to pop. He was writing for Kanye and staying behind, because if he come out rapping the way he rapping, people gonna be like, man, I heard that before. Now you got to tell people, hey man, that's my sound. Like, that ain't Kanye's sound. So I think Sci-Hi he got the bread, he got the situation, but as an artist, I think he probably stunted his own growth, because now, you know, you just a songwriter for Ye, but he could have been somebody that was really up there. So, you know, because bar for bar, I don't know many people messing. I don't care what region you're from. Sci-Hi can rap.
I got you. Bar for bar, Sci-Hi is type. You know, since we've been on me and the Christian stuff, I have got back into listening to other stuff, basically for this show, because I'm not limited the lane I'm in. So
Right.
I need to hear everybody. So
Right, I get it.
yeah. So I had something else, but oh yeah, you know, tell the people, you know, what you're working on in the future, man. So I can hurry up and get you out of here, because you know I got a 1-year-old and he about to start wilding out in a little bit. So
Hey man, I got a 5-year-old, man, so I get it, man. I understand it, because I'm surprised y'all can't hear him upstairs now, because I know he tearing it down upstairs, man. But you know, I'm right now, man. I'm about to put out another project. I haven't named it yet. I'm going to put out all of my unreleased music. So you know, I think I've been pretty consistent in 2022. I want to keep that up in 2023. You know, I got the clothing. I got more stuff coming on that. So that's on www.holdmyownshop.com. You can get the Say More shirts. You know, we're going to be hitting the YouTube with the videos from the Say More project. You know, just keeping it artistic, man. I want to start doing some shows, like fashion shows mixed with music, but in like quaint settings, you know, especially since COVID is seemingly letting up a little bit. And then, you know, we can get back around and start maneuvering a little bit more. I just want to stay active music wise, and you know, continue to put out good content. And like I said, I'm not now, nor have I ever been worried about the fame part of it. I just want, like, when a person like yourself that I know loves music will say, man, that was dope. That means a lot to me. You know, it means a lot more to me than just, you know, 1,000 people that don't really care what I said. They just like me because somebody else said it. You know, it means a lot. So we just gonna continue. My little brother is actually one of the artists on my label, and his music is definitely not hip hop, but in his own right, he is super creative, man. And like, as a producer, he's on a different level. He has his own sound. It's hip hop influenced. It's a lot of rock and roll, blues. He's actually one of my siblings that plays like 4 or 5 instruments. He's in college for music.
okay.
So his music is just different, but it's crazy, you know. So I'm just continuing to put the art out, man. So art first, you know, integrity is in there too, and you know, we're gonna keep it going like that.
All right, thanks, man. I definitely appreciate you coming through.
Thank you,
You know,
my guy.
blessing
Thank you
us.
for having me.
I didn't introduce you properly though at first. I forgot to say, Mr. Your favorite writer's writer.
Oh, you know,
Forgot all
hey
that,
man,
but you
that's
know
why
what
I
I'm
fooled
saying.
you. Hey, all of those
So,
things, man. But at the end of the day, I just want everybody to know, man, music is something for the soul, man. So be careful of what you tell people. And if you're gonna put one side of the coin out, put the other side out too. We know there's a side to the streets, but tell them about the prison terms and the death and the destruction that comes along with it. So don't mislead the youth, man. So that's all I gotta say about that.
hey, on that note, let me give them a Christian song to listen to.
Go
Two
ahead,
Sides of
man.
the
I know
Game,
I
Lecrae.
know it's fine. I
Two
know it's
Sides of the
fine.
Game, Lecrae featuring Waka Flocka. So there you go.
That,
Yeah,
that's what's up.
man, I definitely appreciate you, man. So I'm trying to think. My next episode probably, I think it's Saturday. I got one Saturday and Sunday coming, so I got something special coming up. Working towards it. I got Siobhan Herndon, who works for ESPN and also Houston TV. She's an Emmy-winning producer for the Olympics, so she'll be coming through. And I think I got Kurt Legacy, which is an awesome rapper. So make sure y'all tune in. Thanks, Kev, once again. This is
Thank
the
you, my
juice,
guy.
man.
All right.
Supposed to go salute.
Yes, sir.